Hey, me and Matt here. Beside me, Killer Kyle. Welcome to Wheels of Fury. Hi, me and Matt here, and welcome to Wheels of Fury. We got Killer Kyle, and that's a different intro. So, it's that time again. We're gonna look back at
May 17th, 1969, and WWE Championship Wrestling.
Yes, still don't know what WWE stands for.
Yeah.
Although I'm pretty sure it's World Wrestling
Association,
maybe.
Probably.
I don't know, a few weeks ago, I was watching a video from What Culture on Vince McMahon, and it said that he debuted, I guess it was WWE, in 1969, or WWF at the time, and I found this, actually, Vince McMahon's not on it, but it's actually a pretty good show. This was back in the day when wrestling was wrestling. There was no bullshit. There was commentary and announcements. I mean, there's a lot of announcements on the show. I don't know the guy's name, but he basically talks about events that are happening in the area, so
Yeah.
anyways, it seems to be one of the most fascinating shows that I've seen in that part of the decade. Like, you actually have Hell's Angels guys in one of the interviews, and I didn't think there was a lot of people back then with long hair and leather jacket. Well, obviously, the biker gang, so.
Right, yeah.
So the guy's name is Chuck Marlowe, that guy that did a lot of the backstage segment stuff and announcements for upcoming events, which I guess happened a lot back then. I know that when we started watching wrestling, at least for me, it was always Lord Alfred Hayes or Mean Gene Okerlund
Yeah.
that, well, sometimes Gorilla Monsoon would talk about upcoming events,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Of course, when you had events at Madison Square Garden, at some point during the show, they would say, oh yeah, we're going to be at the Philadelphia Spectrum on this date. We're going to be at the Boston Garden on this date. We're going to be Maple Leaf Gardens on this date. And then on this date, we will be back at Madison Square Garden. Bell time is 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Curfew's 11 p.m. or whatever.
Right.
Although there was a few occasions where near the end of the show, by the time the main event came around, they were like, alright, we're lifting the curfew until the match is over, basically.
Yeah. So, the first match, we've got Johnny Case versus Blackjack Lanza, or Lanza, I guess as he was called back then, with manager Beautiful Bobby Heenan, or whatever they called him back then.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Brain.
No, it's probably just Bobby Heenan, but
Yeah. This match was really good too. There was a lot of holds in it. Be interesting to see more of what they did with Jack Lancer back then before
oh yeah.
the whole cowboy gimmick. And I don't know too much about Johnny Case,
Yeah, really.
so
You know, it's interesting to see that, like, Blackjack Lanza basically had, like, a solo run for a short period of time, and then he got together Mulligan.
yeah,
They were the Blackjacks, and hell of a tag team.
yeah,
Those two were the bruiser type. You
oh
know,
yeah,
you got Blackjack Lanza, like, I don't know, 6'3", 6'4", 260 pounds, let's say.
yeah,
And then Blackjack Mulligan, again, 6'3", 6'4", maybe 6'5", 300 pounds. And they would just beat the tar out of you.
Oh, what's weird about the shows back then as well, this wasn't like some kind of arena that we're used to.
Yeah,
They probably did more so as the time went on, like more or less in the early 70s, but it was more or less in like a gymnasium type feel.
yeah,
And you had Bobby talk back and forth. Like he was by the ring, but you could see him look at the broadcasters or the commentators, if you will.
right.
So
And I think, this was the period of time where the start of, call it studio wrestling, became a thing.
yes,
Because, like, you had, of course, wrestling at the Chase, and Memphis Wrestling, and several others
Florida Championship Wrestling.
that were basically in a studio.
Yeah,
And, you know, you had the ring, you had commentary table, and then basically in front of the commentary table, you do there was an interview, and then basically around the ring you had the audience, and that was it.
yeah, for sure. And in any case, Johnny Case won the match. And yeah, like I've probably seen more matches from him, but I can't think of any offhand right now.
Yeah.
So now go to Jose.
Quintero against the legendary Luthez.
Yeah. So this was pretty cool. Obviously, we all know who Luthez is.
Yes.
Jose Quintero, I again don't know too much about, but I enjoyed this match too.
Yeah.
Once again, you have the guy that is more famous lose the match, and Jose won.
Right.
So, yeah, not too much about this one. I should have did a screen through today, but when I saw the matches, they were pretty cool, as in like traditional wrestling moves and
Yeah.
like traditional wrestling holds. And,
Yeah.
well, that was basically it, more or less. You know, try to get out of holds and shit.
Yeah.
So you've got the Mongol taking on Phil Christ.
Christy, whatever.
Yeah, it's funny looking at the Mongol. Months ago, when you talked about WCW with Steve McMichael, they called him Mongo, and he thought that's because he was Mongolian.
Right.
But actually, this guy was Mongolian.
Yeah.
They had him coming out, and he had like the hair, like the shaved head with the people, the ponytail or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think of this match?
Very physical.
Yeah,
Like, with the first two matches, and then the last match, you know, you got somebody that you know fairly well, like, you know, Blackjack Lanza,
Yeah.
Luthez. We'll talk about the next two when we get to that match.
yeah,
The Mongol and Phil is like probably would have to do more research into
Yeah.
these guys to know more about them, but I mean,
Well, I mean, I've known Lou Thesz for years.
Oh, yeah.
Since I was a kid, actually. And of course, you have Stone Cold Steve Austin doing the Lou Thesz Prez, as they call it.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty cool, too. You have wrestlers using the trademark move that other wrestlers have used, like
Yeah.
Lou Thesz Prez, or the Harley Race Knee,
Yeah.
or the Gory Special.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, this match was really cool. And, I mean, I think Lou Thesz is probably one of the best wrestlers. Obviously, we know that he was trained by Ed Strangler Lewis.
Yes.
And I wish I could find more matches with that guy, but man, I mean, I've seen snippets of his matches, and holy shit.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you got George Hackenschmidt and Ed Strangler Lewis, and of course Lou Thesz and all that.
Yeah,
Those guys. Frank Gotch and
Yeah.
Carl Gotch.
Frank and Carl, yeah.
You know. So,
Oh, yeah, they didn't call Ed Lewis the Strangler by accident. There's a reason they called him that.
yeah. So I go to the main event. The best 2 out of 3 falls. Johnny Diamond for
Johnny Diamond and Jim S2, I
Yeah.
think, against Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher.
the Crusher. The Crusher of the AWA. Yeah. I remember seeing a lot of his matches in AWA.
Oh, yeah.
And, guy who comes out and he's got that big gravelly voice. And, smoking the cigar.
Yeah.
And the blonde hair. And just, of course, Dick the Bruiser, This guy definitely should be in the WWE Hall of Fame if he's not already.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But this match was really good. I mean, you got the Bruiser and the Crusher basically taking over in the match.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's basically what happened. You had blood in this match. And that was weird for back then, at least.
Yeah. Blood in matches during the 60s and into the 70s. Didn't happen too often. And then once you got later into the 70s and into the 80s and of course the 90s, bloodbath. But I mean, back in the day, blood in a match was extremely rare.
Yeah.
And then, talk about Blackjack Lance and Blackjack Mulligan, how much of a brawling style they had. The Bruiser and the Crusher, those two were bad
Well,
men.
those were, I mean, they didn't take no shit from nobody.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, the Crusher was brutal. Gotta find some of his matches with him and Mad Dog, or the Butcher,
Yeah.
or even Nick Bockwinkel, if there was such a thing. And I'm sure there is. Gotta find more matches with most of these guys, but
Yeah.
the Crusher was definitely one of the best in AWA. And, I like to find more matches from these guys, because I'm pretty sure they were a tag team for a few years at
Well,
least.
they were a tag team for quite a while.
Yeah, so,
I mean, of course, they don't call you the Bruiser and the Crusher for no reason.
no.
Talk about how Ed Lewis, the Strangler, for a reason. The Bruiser and the Crusher were the Bruiser and the Crusher for a reason.
Yeah,
They bruise you and they crush you in a heartbeat.
fuck yeah. Oh, God. And I think that back then, because we talked about wrestling nowadays, and it just seems like back then it was more rugged
Oh, yeah.
and more
Rugged, physical, smash mouth, in your face,
yeah.
brutal,
And
violent, vicious.
And back then, you didn't see too many wrestlers with a 6-pack.
Yeah, exactly
It
right.
was always like a bare belly or, something like that. And they were strong enough.
Oh yeah.
You look at the wrestlers and you think, these are the guys you see at the Highland Games doing caper tops.
Oh yeah.
Or the fucking, like, World's Strongest Men or whatever that was that we watched that one time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty cool to watch, and look back and to see, wrestlers like that. And I think that we need to see more of that because, not that today is terrible or anything, but it just seems like there's a lot of wrestlers that are not believable, I guess, if you will.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I'm not sure. I mean, I have no problem with today, but
yeah.
when you look at back then, and you're like, I would much rather pay to see those guys.
Oh yeah.
The closest I can really come to a really good wrestling match that's old school, like, was on Sunday with Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they beat the shit out of each other.
Oh yeah, they beat the shit out of each other. They were exchanging holds with each other.
Yeah.
Putting each other in submission holds and locks and
That's old school wrestling.
Oh yeah.
So, I think that we're going to talk about it some more. We're going to do Blood and Guts coming up in 2 weeks.
Right.
And then a week after that's WrestleMania.
And Blood and Guts in 2 weeks, and then after that, do Takeover Tampa, and then maybe after that, do top 10, we'll call it, favorite restaurants.
And foodies like us.
Oh yeah.
But, yeah, that would be pretty cool actually, because there's restaurants that we would go to back when we were kids that no longer exist in Ontario, but
Yeah.
some of them do. I was just at Eastside Mario's actually. So,
Eastside Mario's,
Eastside Mario's, bada boom, bada bing.
Yes.
Anyhow.
Oh yeah, Eastside Mario's, that's a good place.
Yeah. Anyway, so for me and Matt, this is Killer Kyle, and we will see you next time. Deuces.
Arrivederci.